Hello and welcome to the Creabea Knitting podcast. Hello, welcome back. My name is Rebecca. I'm a knitter and knitwear designer based in Edinburgh, and this is a vlog or a podcast all about knitting, what I'm currently knitting on, what I've been knitting on, and what I'd like to cast on in the not too distant future, along with some acquisitions. And I have all of the above today. I kind of have some future whips as well. So, what do I have? I've got a pattern release, I've got a tester call, I have a giveaway winner, I've got 4 works in progress, and some acquisitions. So, a bumper episode. I also have a cold, so if apologies in advance if I'm a bit nasally or if it's a bit of a choppy episode because I'm pausing to edit out the phlegmy noises. I also have the windows open because it's been torrential rain for 3 days in Edinburgh, and I'm trying to air the flat out a little bit because it's been too wet to have the windows open, and all I can hear is some nice bird noises, but I do live in a city so it might get a little bit loud. I think you can just hear birds. Maybe? Don't know if you can hear those. So without further ado, let's jump in with the very first thing, which is what I'm wearing, a finished object and my pattern release today. It's Sanna-Day! So this is the Sanna cardigan. It is a bottom-up lace cardigan, knit like quite a chunky weight so it knits up quite quickly, and it is a short sleeve and a long sleeve version. I finished my short sleeve one and showed it on the podcast a little while ago. That is this one here. And oh, my neck is just not staying up, there we go. And then this is the long sleeve one, which I finished since the last episode. I think I'm really in my blue phase right now and it is showing, and you will see it showing with a lot of my projects right now. So Sanna is live, the link for Ravelry and Etsy are both down below, and with the code SANNA15 you can get 15% off the pattern until Sunday evening. Let's talk a bit about the pattern. I did both of my samples in Cascade 220. This I think is just the colour white. It might be Arctic white, but I think it's just white. It's funny because I was really nervous about knitting with this colour. Usually when I knit with a white, here's an example, it's like this is what usually white is in the knitting world, like a natural, and this is the white and it's been bleached. And I was a bit worried it would look a bit like fake, but actually I love it. I think it's a really nice colour, I think it's really interesting and a bit different, and I'm super pleased with this short sleeve version. I think it's going to get a lot of wear. I made a short sleeve cardigan last year and it didn't get a whole lot of wear, and I don't really know why, because this has already been worn more than that one ever has, I think, which is funny. This version is in, I think it's midnight blue, and yeah, I think it's just, oh, I just really love it. I feel kind of, it feels like a very versatile cardigan. It feels like something I could wear to the office. It feels like something I could wear like a client meeting if I had to, but also I can wear with jeans and pair of trainers and just feel very like myself. It is similar to the Corin cardigan, which is a pattern I released last year, which was also a lace cardigan, and it's a similar fit, it's a similar gauge. I use the same yarn for both of them. It's really just a different stitch pattern and like stitch counts, but the fit is very similar. So and the construction's a little bit different, but I love my Corin cardigans. I got so much wear of them in spring and in autumn, and so I was really excited to have, like, when I knew I was gonna make this thing, I aimed for that gauge and I aimed for that yarn again because I knew how much I wore my Corins, because I have a couple of them. I've opted to make both my samples in wool. I live in Scotland. It's very, like, there will be days where it's going to be too hot to wear this, but on those days I've got linen Tolsta tees and linen tank tops and like other things. For the most part, it's almost always warm enough to wear a bit of wool. So I have opted to make both of my samples in wool, and I think that's absolutely, like, that's working fine. Maybe I can't wear these in the height of June, but I'm okay with that. Height of June? Height of July? I don't know when I'll be hot this year. That being said, I know that the Corin was made in a lot of different fibres, cottons and silks and linens. So if you are looking for some inspiration for yarn, I would definitely recommend looking at the project page on the Corin. I think there are over 700 projects, and a lot of them have used non-woolly fibres. So if you're thinking, I like that, but I don't want to make it in wool, I want to make this a summer cardigan, that would be my first point of call to have a look at. And yeah, anything around, there's actually, I was looking this week, knit.co.uk just started launching Aroma, It turns out there was already a Rerum stockist in the UK that I didn't know about, but I thought they were the first people to stock it. So I was having a look, and they have 100% cotton, which is 200 meters per 100 grams, which is the same as the Cascade. And I am considering, somebody made a lilac version, and it's beautiful. One of the test knitters, and now I want a lilac one, and I'm wondering if they do that cotton in the lilac, and maybe I'll make a lilac one. We'll see. It's worked from the bottom up, which is my not preferred. I mean, all bar one of my cardigan patterns. Isn't it the same way? I like it, and I particularly like it for lace because you get to grips with the stitch pattern before any of the complicated stuff happens. So you've done like a couple of repeats of the lace by the time you start doing shaping and stuff, so it means you're kind of, it's a bit more intuitive than just casting on and starting with shaping. And the sleeves are worked separately, bottom up, and then joined with a 3-needle bind off, which is the first time I've ever done that in a pattern, first time I've ever done that in real life. It wasn't the plan as I was knitting, but I realised that if I picked up the sleeves and went down, the lace pattern on the sleeves would be the opposite way around to the pattern on the body, because the body is knit bottom up, so the sleeves have to be bottom up as well. And that was fun, like interesting, like a fun problem to solve. And I think you can seam it, and I think I say in the pattern if you want to seam this, if you're like more comfortable seaming, you can. But it leaves this very tidy little seam, and I just really like it. It's a really, like, it looks kind of almost a ready to wear type seam, and it's not at all bulky, which is what my worry was. But you just get this very neat little join on the inside. And I like that a lot. And there's something insanely fun about just knitting a sleeve. You have none of that turning, you know, like wrestling your pattern, your sample round as you go. And yeah, they knit up so quickly. It felt like they flew. Their lace, it's an open gauge, it did fly, but also just the fact that it's just a sleeve at once was really nice. Sorry, my nose is itchy. So, Sanna's out. What else do I have to say? Have I forgotten anything? It's been a while. My last pattern release was Lauder, and that was maybe in March. And we were in New Zealand and I was jet lagged, and I felt like I was living a fever dream. Like, that didn't feel like a real pattern launch. So it feels like it's been, yeah, I guess like February. What was the last pattern? Rue? Was Rue the last one? That feels like so long ago. Have I forgotten a pattern completely? I think it was Rue. I just feel a bit like out of sync with pattern releases, so apologies if I've forgotten something really obvious. Anyway, if you got any questions, you can ask me about them. I don't know if you will have, we'll see. And yeah, I'm just really, really pleased with these. This one, the funny story I was going to tell you was I've had this pattern in mind for over a year. I think it's a fairly common, like, it's quite a trendy knit, I think. I've seen quite a lot of this sort of places like Cézanne and Bowden and like Marks and Spencer's, like kind of fancier, like higher end shops, having these sort of open lacework cardigans or t-shirts where there's like a lace and then like a border and then another lace and then a border. And so I've had this in mind since last summer, and I remember at one point last summer deciding, okay, I'm not making this year, I'll make this next year, I'll come back to it. And walking, there's a street in Edinburgh that goes from the city centre to Leith, which is where I live, and that road is called Leith Walk, and it's a big long road with lots of shops and the tram and all these things. And I was walking up Leith Walk, and a person was coming down Leith Walk, and she was wearing like a short sleeved white cardigan with this lace detailing, and me being like watching her go past, and that was the moment I was like, I have to make this next year. And so I did. So I'm really pleased. It's nice. I think I'm getting to a place now with designing where I'm thinking a lot more about the future, and I'm trying to be better planned ahead, better, trying to think ahead better, if any of that makes sense. And yeah, it's really fun. So Sanna is live. I'll have hopefully been putting some pictures up when I'm talking, and I'm really pleased. I got lots of compliments on this colour, saying this colour really suited me, so I'm glad because I have nothing in my wardrobe in this colour. And yeah, if you also want to knit a spring summery cardigan with some fun lace, go ahead. I think it's not super challenging. Like, the lace itself is not challenging. It's a fairly short repeat. One is like only maybe 10 rows and one is like 30 rows. So it's all very intuitive, I think, with the lace. The shaping is a little bit trickier, just in that it's always tricky when you're doing any shaping in lace, because the whole way that lace is created is by increasing and decreasing. So you knit two together and you yarn over, or you do, what is it? Slips, the one where you make 3 into 1. Slip one, knit two together, pass slip stitch over, that thing. And then you do 2 yarn overs. And it's all about making sure that you do something which removes a stitch and then you add back up a stitch in a way that creates a hole, and that's what makes lace. And so when you're decreasing or increasing in lace, you have to make sure that you are not like decreasing out a stitch and then adding it back in with a yarn over by accident, and like that's always a bit tricky to keep your eye on. So I think it's a bit more challenging in that sense, but the one thing I like about bottom up is that by the time you've got to deal with that, the rest of your cardigan's already knit, so you don't even have to worry about it because the rest already exists. So yes, that's the Sanna. I'm super pleased. I'm really pleased with this finished object. I like it a lot. We went and took pictures in it last week, and now I'm excited to be able to wear them. And it's pretty perfect weather. It's not very warm right now in Scotland. It's like in the low to mid teens, and that is kind of perfect woolly Sanna weather. So I can definitely wear a long sleeve wool cardigan, but also it has holes, so I'll have some ventilation. Okay, I feel like I've forgotten something, but I can't think what I've forgotten, so we'll just move on. Let's move on to my tester call. So I think I showed this last week. I'm actually gonna put it on, so give me a second. Ta-da! This is my blue era version 2, part 2 of my blue phase. This is the Lunan Polo, and I love it. It is a drop-shouldered polo neck t-shirt. It is knit in 3x1 rib. It's got this like fun little double knit collar, double knit like shaped polo, and it's got a little bit of detailing on the back shoulder, which I can actually show you from where I'm standing. There's like a shaping here, and it's really fun. I really like this. Sometimes, like, so the Sanna, I knew since 12 months ago it was going to be a pattern, and it was just a case of working out how to do it. Some patterns are not on my mind at all, and then they just appear, and then they have to be made immediately. And that's what Lauder was like with the cables. That is also what this was like. I just needed, like in my head, I was like, I really need a ribbed polo. So I made one. So it's super, super easy. It feels very casual and like very, very easy wearing. I wore it to knit night on Monday, and yeah, I just felt great in it. It is DK weight, but the pattern also has 4-ply. I'm aware that not everyone in the world lives in places where summer weather is like 17 degrees. So I didn't have any intentions at first to write it up in any other weight of yarn, but when I realised that DK summer garments are not the thing for everyone, I was like, okay, maybe we'll add a 4-ply version. So there will be 4-ply and DK. And there's also a round neck version. So this was on the blocking mats. It's still kind of damp. It's like 60% dry, so I'm gonna hold it up, but if it's a bit wobbly, you know why. There's also a round neck. So it's quite a dainty round neck. It's relatively high necked, and it's a very narrow ribbing. And this is, oh yeah, I can show you the back, the shoulder detail on this one. That's the shoulder detail. Similar again, like my 6 seasons got this, my Lauder has got this. Like I really am into this detail right now, if you can't tell. And then yeah, that's what the shoulder looks like. So the back is like really nicely framed. There's a little bit of underarm shaping. And yeah, I'm just a really, it just feels very like sporty and cool and super, super, super easy to wear. I love this. I just feel like it feels like very me, and I feel very put together, and I think a lot of people wouldn't know it was hand knit, which is never really my goal, but it's always a nice thing to achieve. And the polo collar is much easier than I thought it would be. My first attempt, I didn't make the back long enough, and so it wouldn't fold over properly. So I came back and I ripped the back a little bit, made the collar a little bit longer. I was worried that the collar was going to make this too long, but I don't think it did. And there's some short rows and some increasing here. It's really fun. It's very satisfying. But also if you don't want to knit a polo collar because you think that's too much hassle, there's a round neck too. So yeah, the tester call for this is live. I think it's a 7-week test. It's going to come out mid-July. All the details are there down below, and yeah, there's a polo and round neck, 4-ply and DK. And I'm pretty positive that when this end of summer comes around, I will be making a long sleeve version of this with some, and just adding a sleeves document for anyone who wants to knit long sleeves. I have no desire to do it right now. It's not weather where I want to be knitting a long sleeve, and also I'm just about to finish 2 and I want a little break. But I need to, I just have this vision of like a very soft, in my head cashmere, but that might be way too expensive, but like a super soft dark grey long sleeve polo. I think that'd be glorious. And I also think not a polo but the round neck version with a blue, like a cobalt blue, I think it'd be really nice. So yeah, that is my plan. I really love it. I'm a big fan. So this is Lunan, Lunan. It is a bay in Scotland. I like to name my summer patterns after beaches and bays in Scotland. I'm running out of places which have easily pronounceable names, and I'll need to decide soon if I want to go down the more, like, do I want to risk putting Gaelic names on patterns and just have them like no one can pronounce them, including me? Or do I want to stick with ones I know? I'm not really sure about that yet. But yeah, for now we've still got Lunen, and I'm a big fan. I've used Camarose, do I have some here? I do. Camarose organic summer wool. It is 70% wool and 30% cotton. So I will say it's probably slightly less breathable than like a 50-50. My original plan had been to make this in Knitting for Olive cotton merino, but that only just got restocked, and at the time when I was casting this on I didn't know whether or not it was going to be restocked, so I didn't want to knit a design in something which I wasn't sure was going to come out. I think this would be glorious. I did a swatch in cotton merino and it's such a like breezy light, like this definitely feels a bit heavier and it's got a bit of weight to it. That was a very breezy fabric, so yeah, who knows if I'll make a third. I do have some sample knitters chosen to knit up some 4-ply versions, so I'll have them to show as well. I just don't want to knit a 28 stitch gauge ever, like it's never worth it for me. But I do know that some people just don't knit in DK, so I am pleasing the audience, even if it means I'm having my samples for 4-ply sample knit. Yeah, so that is the first one. The one I'm wearing is my finished object, and then this is my work in progress, and I blocked it last night mostly because I wanted to be able to show people who were applying to the test what the round neck collar would look like, and this stitch before you block it looks like trash. It's 3x1 rib, so I had to block it, and I was pretty sure I had to wet block it, but I also, the week kind of got away from me. In my head I was like, oh, I'll finish the collar by Wednesday and then I'll block it, and then suddenly it was Thursday night and I thought I'm podcasting tomorrow and the tester call goes tomorrow, so I have to block it now. So yeah, my goal was that it would be finished and dry. It is not finished. I wasn't planning the whole thing to be finished, but I was planning to finish to here. Obviously I've not done that. Well, I've done that, but it's not dry. So yeah, there we go. Do I have anything else to say? I don't think so. That is Lunan. All the details on the test net are down below, so if you want, you can click through that form, and I think everyone will find out by Monday what they're test knitting, if they're test knitting, and the test net will start on Monday. So that's really exciting. Okay, let's get back into my other works in progress, and I'm going to do another quick change. I realised when I was pulling out my knitting this morning that I was going to have to change from my first Sanna to my polo, and then I thought I'll just put my other Sanna back on afterwards. So this is my other sample. It's my short sleeve one. I love this little cap sleeve. I just think it's so like, I don't know, I just think it's really elegant. I don't know if that's a silly word to use, but yeah. The collar is slightly higher on this one. It's been changed in the pattern. So this is my very first sample, and based on some tester feedback I've pulled this collar so it sits a bit more like here. So just bear that in mind. This is not the final collar, but it's not, I'm happy with it. It doesn't bother me. It's just very, very high necked, and like I probably wouldn't ever wear it closed because it feels like it's kind of choking me a little bit. But that had been altered in the final pattern. So I have, I guess you've already seen my first work in progress, which is my Lunan tee. It's been getting quite a lot of love this week in the attempt at getting it ready for the test call, but I've also got 3 other projects and I can only see 2 of them. Where is the third one gone? Oh, it's here. Let me start with that one. So in this bag is my long sleeved Tolsta. So the Tolsta tee is a pattern that came out last summer. It's just like stupidly popular. It blows my mind how many times a day I get tagged in people knitting Tolstas. It is a super easy to wear, lightweight, open-ish gauge t-shirt that you can knit with quite little yarn, not very much yarn, quite little, relatively little yarn. And yeah, I've got quite a few. They're so easy to wear. It's like a throw it on with jeans, throw it on with whatever, knit them in every single colour type of project. 2 weeks from today, the Tolsta tank is coming out, which is a tank top that is super versatile. But the week after that, I was trying to get them all the same day, but I wasn't quite on time with getting the testers call started for the long sleeve version. There is also a long sleeve version of the Tolsta tee coming, and bust shaping. So right now it's all just one bust size with no shaping. There will be a D cup and an F cup bust shaping added. Super exciting, all of those things. And I decided to knit a long sleeve one in order to, like, for when the pattern comes out, I've got like a long sleeve one to show what it looks like. I've got one already which is purple, but it's not quite the numbers I used for the final pattern, so I wanted to make one actually to pattern. And this is what it looks like. So this is Blue Era part 3. And I actually don't have the yarn because I just used up the very last little bit of the last ball and I've not grabbed a new one yet. This is Sandnesgarn Ballerina Mohair in the colour blue. It came out earlier in the year and it is really fun. It's very mohairy and I've got another project which is Alpaca, and Alpaca one is soft. This is more prickly, but I like it. I think it's going to be very fun to wear. I think at this point in time it's quite likely I'll wear a t-shirt underneath it, but maybe I'll be fine once it's washed and blocked. Sorry, it's on a very short needle, which is firstly because I can't seem to find any more of my longer needles. Everything's gone somewhere. I need to do some clearing out. And secondly, I can knit really quickly. If I'm on this one, it goes really fast in the round, but it does mean that I should put some needle stoppers on it or something, because every time I move it around it, yeah. So I think I've done about 20 centimetres of the body. There's not very much more to go in the body, and then I've got 2 sleeves with the shaping, which will be really fun. So far, I'm pretty sure that's my second ball just used up of the mohair. So I think I might use 3 or 4 overall. I think it's £10 a ball, so I remember looking at it and thinking, goodness, that's quite expensive, and it's not. I think it's maybe 110 metres or something. That can't be right. I must have used more than 3 balls now. It must be 4th. Either that or it's going a very long way. It's a nice fabric. It's pretty dense. It's not at all see-through. I thought it would be. I thought that it would be a bit more opaque, but it's a tiny bit. Like, you can kind of see my face through there, but not really. And yeah, I'm having fun. I've not knit a Tolsta tank in a while. Tolsta tee in a while. I think I'll have one more this summer. I think I want to make a green one. But for now at least, it's nice just to have like a plain stockinette and a round project. And I've not really been reading very much. I'm watching a lot of reality TV right now. I'm rewatching Dance Moms and I'm watching Below Deck. So I've not had a whole lot of time, and I've had time to read, but my brain hasn't been in it, and this would be a perfect reading project, but I can't really get into a book. I tried to start rereading the Bridgerton books. I read the first 5 or 6 I think, like 8-9 years ago, well before it became a TV show. And I remember finding out the TV show was being made, and I think my friend messaged me and was like, are these books you read? And I was like, oh, amazed. I will say the TV show is better than the books, which is a rare occurrence. But so I tried to start reading the books again, and I'm just not really that into them. So it's got me in a bit of a slump. So really, I should start a new book, read my book, do my knitting, and put some time into the Tolsta. But it's just so lightweight. There's no weight to that at all. And yeah, I'm having fun with it. Again, back in this like cobalt blue colour. I really like it. I think it's gonna be really fun to wear. I don't have anything like this in my wardrobe as well, which will be nice. And yeah, it's just going. It's one of those projects where I feel like I've not really put much time into it. I feel like I'm not really sitting down and like powering through it or like putting in a proper like session to get it done. And yet I have most of the body done already, and somehow it's, you know, it's not knit itself. I have done the knitting, but at the same time it feels like it's knitting up pretty quickly by itself. Okay, I'm getting there. I'm gonna take a quick break and have a little sip of tea because I can feel my throat just drying. Okay, 2 more whips and then I'll do the giveaway winner. I meant to do that before I got to my whips, but never mind. Okay, the next one is one you've seen before. I'm just still loving this project. I think there's something, it's quite nice because it's a slip stitch project, so there are quite a lot of rows ultimately per 10 centimetres, so it doesn't knit up pretty quickly. But there's something about knowing that there's still quite a lot of time before it has to be ready that doesn't feel very pressured or stressful, and it's making me want to pick it up more, which is good because this is going to have a 12-week test period, which will be the first time I've done 12 weeks testing, and it's nice to know that like I'm enjoying having a bit more of a like loose deadline, and hopefully that will mean that the testers will also feel the same way. This is the Kip sweater. I've been showing this for ages. I started knitting this last, like in the winter time. I think my original goal was like, oh, I'll release it in April. And then I decided that actually I needed more time to work through it, and I definitely wanted to give it like a full 12-week test, and I thought there's no way I couldn't fit, it wasn't 12 weeks before April at that point. I'd have to start in like January, March, April. Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to start in like January for my April release date, and I think this was like mid-February, so I thought there's no way I'm doing that. So I put it on ice and said I'll come back to it in September, and so when I came back from New Zealand and Australia, I picked this up again and started working on it, and it is a joy. I'm also really glad because my fitting, I had some issues with the fit before, and like let me come back and like pause, and I had to do quite a bit of ripping back and like reshaping of the, it actually wasn't the upper, like the shoulder fit was great, it was the underarm fit and making sure it fit properly under the bust and around the arms, and it worked out so well. So now I'm just bodying, and now I'm pretty sure what I'm doing with the sleeves, so I will hopefully start on them next week. I'd like to have the body finished this week. We will see. This is the kip. I don't think you can see any of the texture from this far away, but that is what it looks like. It has this really, really fun, I even think the camera is struggling to pick it up. It has this almost, it looks a bit like herringbone. Yeah, that's a bit better. So you have slip stitches that all go in one direction, and then slip stitches that all go in the other direction for a chunk. And it is just super fun. Really, really fun to do. Like I say, it's not the fastest thing to knit up, but at the same time, there's something about the fact that each section is like X number of rows. It's a bit like stripes. Like everyone knows, like stripes knit faster because you're like, oh, just get to the end of the stripe. That's kind of how this feels. You're always, it's never just like knit the body. It is just at the body, but there's like still something going on in your head while you're knitting the body, and that is really enjoyable. So yeah, I added this collar detail. We talked about this last time, but this collar detail, it's got this like detail around the collar, and yeah, I think the back again, similar to my other ones I showed, has this like shoulder shaping. It's a little bit different in this one, but again it has that like single stitch detail, which I just love. So yeah, this is kip. I am using the Rerum Natura Ulysse. I've got more of this somewhere, but not right now. There we go. The Rerum Natura Ulysse in the colour Poivre Blanc, which is white pepper. And I had to go back and buy some more. I originally bought maybe like four or five balls, but it was running out of, it was low on stock. And this doesn't eat yarn per se, but because of all the slip stitches, it definitely uses a little bit more yarn than a normal, like just a stockinette sweater. So I knew I'd have to order some more yarn at some point. However, this was out of stock everywhere at the time, even on their own website. And I had a bit of panic because I thought, oh, I'm ordering this again. I hope it is the same dye lot. And it's not the same dye, well, not the same dye lot, but I hope it, I knew it wouldn't be the same dye lot, but I hope that they had like quite even colouring for their dye lots, and they definitely seem to. It doesn't at all look like a different colour to me. To be sure, I'm going to use the new colours on the sleeves, just in case. But yeah, I'm really pleased with that. Something really interesting. So Ulysse is quite an interesting yarn. It's a sport weight, but it is 185 metres per 100 grams. Sorry, per 50 grams. So it's very open spun. It's super bouncy. It actually has this like stretch to it, which you don't see often in yarn, I don't think. And it goes very far for a ball. So yeah, 50 grams is 185 metres. It's almost like it should be like a fingering weight, but it knits up a little more like a DK. And yeah, I don't think there are many other yarns like it, which I think is really interesting. I think it'll be interesting to see what others, I've only knit the samples in this. I've not tried sample knitting in anything else. I did try their Gilead, which is the thicker version, but this is the only, I only use this base. So I will at some point stop and do some swatching of this stitch pattern to see what other yarns this could work in, because it's an interesting, like it's an interesting situation where I don't know how other yarns will take to this design. Usually I knit very like flexibly, so you could knit anything else in any other yarn. I'm not sure how this will be because it's quite a specific gauge, it's quite a specific I always have issues saying specific. It's a specific gauge and a specific yarn, and I'm curious to see how well it substitutes for other things. It's like a 22 stitch gauge of sport weight yarn knit on 5mm needles, and I'm a loose knitter. It's so strange, and that's why it took me a long time to get it right, because I was starting with like a 3.5mm, which is what I would normally use for this, and then I was like, the edges were curling up, like they were ruffled. So I had to go up to a point to which there was no more, like it was lying nice and flat, and that was all the way up to a 5mm. It was just, it's really interesting. It's interesting, basically, to say the least. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. My goal is to finish the body this week, and it's going to go into testing late June. I started writing the pattern up already. I was really stressed because I thought it was going to be a nightmare to write up. It's not that hard to write up. The tricky thing is, you have to finish the front and the back on the same row. So whatever because you have to join on the same row of the repeat of like the block. So like if you finish the back like here, you have to make sure the front is at the same place, and that is just slightly challenging. And for example, like in stick season you finish the same, but it's only a 4-row repeat, so you can be like a couple of rows off. This is like a 19-row repeat, so that just takes a bit more thought. I'm very like, instead of just saying, oh, knit till it measures 12 centimeters, it has to be knit X number of rows, which is a bit different to the way I normally write patterns, which is fine, but it just requires a bit more thought on my part. But it's not as hard as I thought it would be. And my sleeve plan as well, I was a bit worried about the sleeve, but I'm no longer worried about that. So yeah, this is also super lightweight. It doesn't weigh very much for what it is. Like it's most of a body of a sweater of DK weight, a DK weight gauge, and it feels pretty light and airy, which again is thanks to the Ulysse. Really enjoying it. It is outgrowing its bag, but that is absolutely fine. Oh, I got my little ginger twist pin on this bag. I'm going to ginger twist at some point this afternoon because I need to drop off my Myrtle vest sample. They're having an open day on Sunday, not an open day, a launch party for the next edition of Journal of Scottish Yarns, and I'm not going to be there because we're not here this weekend, which is a bit of a shame. We might get back in time, we'll see, and I might pop by, but I don't have, I think it's 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock, so I'm not currently planning to get there. If we happen to get back, it'd be nice to get there, but I'm not pushing for it. But I do have a sample knit in yarn which they have in stock, so I thought I would go and drop off my sample. So if anyone wants to go and see the Myrtle vest and you're in Edinburgh this weekend, Sunday from 3 to 5 Ginger Twist, you can go see it, along with all the other lovely patterns in that book. One vinyl whip. It's a brand new whip. It's a fun whip. It's just something that I just wanted to cast on for fun, and I'm pretty much on top of my deadlines right now, so I have a bit of breathing room around. Yeah, like Lunan is the only thing, it's the next deadline, but again, the test knit is 7 weeks, so I have 7 weeks to finish the second sample. Kip is going into testing in mid-June, and ideally I'll have it completely finished, but if I just have one sleeve, that's enough for it to go into testing, so everything's pretty chill at the moment, and I have plenty of Tolsta tank samples, which is the next pattern after this, so I'm pretty chill, ultimately. I'm chill. So I thought I'd cast something new and something fun, and so that is this cardigan. So this is the back of the cardigan. It is these fun orange and pink stripes. It is super, super, super lightweight. It is like a 15 stitch gauge. I'm making up as I go. I'm doing the shoulder shaping that I enjoy with drop shoulders. Oh, I've just seen a drop. Is that a drop stitch? No, it's just a bit of fluff. Yeah. And I'm doing these 4-row stripes, and I'd be interested to see how wearable this end garment is. Is it going to be too light to like... Sometimes it feels like it has to have a bit of heft to it for it to sit properly. And so I'm interested to see if that if this will work, I guess. I am using 2 types of yarn from Hello Stella, well, 2 different colours. This is their Suri Alpaca in the, I think it was like Fizz, Let's Fizz, something like that. Pop and Fizz was the colour collection. And I got Geum and I don't know what the colour's called. It's pink. I got the pink and the red, basically. This is definitely more of like an orangey red. It's quite a bright red on other bases, but on the Suri it's almost an orange. And the pink is a very bubblegum pink. So we will see. I'm a bit concerned about yardage. It would be my preferred construction for this, but I'm a bit concerned about yardage, so I wanted to go top down, and that's why it's such an open gauge. And obviously I can't, I mean, I think if I reached out to, is it Lindsay? And said, like, is there any chance you'd consider re-dyeing some more of this, or can I put in an order? I think she'd maybe consider it, but I don't want to have to do that. And it wasn't part of the collection, so like you might not get the same colours and da 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 da. So yeah, I'm just having a lot of fun. I'm almost finished the back panel. I think it's gonna be V-neck because again, uses a bit less yarn. And it's gonna have long sleeves, and I'm hoping it's just gonna be a really fun thing to throw on in like spring, summertime, and a bit more bright and a bit more colourful. We will see. But for now, I'm enjoying it, and yeah, it's just like, it weighs nothing. Like the cord and the needles weigh more than the yarn does. It's funny because with it being this quite light yarn and being a relatively open gauge, I do find it quite hard. It's not the easiest in it. It doesn't just like fly in that way. So I'm using I'm using wooden needles for a bit more grip. And yeah, I feel like it's very prone to just like sliding off my needles, which I don't know if it is or if it feels that way. But that is definitely, well, yeah, it's how it feels. So yeah, those are my whips right now. Not a whole lot. I'm considering casting on a Tolsta tank, another one. Or another Tolsta tee. I'm not quite worked out which one. There will definitely be a Tolsta cal coming once I've launched the long sleeve version, which I think will just be a week after the tank comes out. I'm gonna do a Tolsta cal, so I'll probably wait until then actually. But I have a couple of yarns that I'd like to cast. Like I feel like I want to knit a tank because I want some fun samples to show off. But I want to knit a tee because I think I'll get more wear out of it, because it's more often t-shirt weather than bare arms weather in Edinburgh. And I already have quite a few tanks, and I feel like it wouldn't massively surprise me if there are enough hot weather days this summer where I can wear each tank once and not again. And I think I have maybe 6 samples, so I'm expecting 6 days of that, whereas I'm probably expecting quite a lot of weeks of t-shirt weather. Okay, let's do the giveaway. Right now Rebecca does not know what the giveaway winner is, but last episode last video was a look at the Woolly Good Gathering, which was a brand new yarn festival here in Scotland, in Edinburgh, and I'm giving away 2 of the skeins of the festival colourways, which are called Sea Glass, and they're dyed by Iron Layer, and they are non-superwash, 50% merino, 50% silk. Absolutely beautiful skeins. And I just asked you to comment and tell me what you like, or tell me about your knitting community. And the messages were lovely. There were people who talked about like festivals they've gone to or people they've met in real life, and there were people who said no one beside me knits, but like my community is online, and it was just really lovely. So thank you for leaving a comment. I will do a random comment picker while I'm editing the video, and I'll put the winner here. Congratulations. If that is your comment, email me please. I'll put the email address down below. I know there was a while where everyone was getting like, there were like bots replying to messages and stuff. I will not reply to any messages. I will not comment and tell you you've won something. That's not how it's going to be. You just need to email me, tell me that's my comment, and tell me your postal address, and I'll get that posted out next week to you. So yeah, that was fun. I've not done a giveaway in a while, and it was so nice to read the comments. So I think I will make sure it's not too long until I do another giveaway. There will definitely be Tolsta Cal prize winners, so that will be some giveaway prizes. But maybe I'll do one, I don't know. It's my birthday in August, maybe we'll do one in August. I don't know. Okay, last but not least, I have a little bit of acquisition. Came in this very like dinged up bag yesterday. As I mentioned, I didn't know, I went a bit overboard. I didn't know that I can open this pulley. There we go. The cotton merino from Knitting for Olive was out of stock for ages, and then came back in stock, and I went a little bit crazy and got 3 sweater or like t-shirt quantities in 3 different colours, and they all arrived yesterday. So I basically got the French flag. I don't know if that's the French flag in the right order. French flag, Russian flag, Dutch flag. There's a Union Jack in there somewhere, but I'm not a unionist, so there we go. This beautiful red, like rich, it's blowing out a little bit. It's a proper like foam box red. The white, and this very rich, lovely navy blue. It's a bit more navy than my, this is not inside out, it's more navy, like darker than the Sanna. So yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these. I'm considering one of them being my second sample, the 4-ply sample, and sending it to the sample knitter. But I put a little box on Instagram asking for colour suggestions and everyone says green. So maybe it'll be green. But yeah, they're really fun. And also I might just do like a fun, I have an idea for a fun striped Tolsta. I'm seeing a lot of these like irregular stripes this year. So like 2 rows, 4 rows, 4 rows, 2 rows, 4 rows, you know what I mean? Rather than it just being standard the whole way down. So I might do like an irregularly striped polo. But I'm not sure if these are the colours I want to do it in. I probably should have put some more thought into what I was using these for, but I was mostly just relieved that it was back in stock. So I panic ordered. So that is everything for me. I feel like I've flown through it, but maybe I've not. I hope you don't feel like I've flown through it. What is going on in life otherwise? Yeah, I'm not very well. I've just got this head cold that won't shift. So that's not ideal, but it's okay. I will get over it. I find that by the end of the day, it's mostly gone, and I'm not sure if it's the fact that I'm talking that's making it stay. It's making my throat sore and stuff because I'm talking. What else? We've got some flat stuff we're currently working on. We've got something fun happening in a couple of weeks, but I will wait until the fun thing has happened and then I will share the fun thing rather than tell you ahead of time. Probably next episode, maybe the one after that. And then what else is going on? The boat is back in the water. We're almost ready to be sailing. We've got a few tiny little things left to do and then she'll be ready to go, which is very exciting. I think we'll be heading there tomorrow to get the last bits done. And otherwise, yeah, work is very, very busy and very hectic right now, so I'm kind of just trying to power through the busy season with that. And I'm trying to, yeah, our fun thing is going to be taking a lot of time, so I'm trying to get ahead on some of my admin and sort of double up my evenings to get things like the Tolsta version. The Tolsta's not coming out for 2 weeks, but I've sent all the final copies to the tech editor this week. I'm going to get kit written up and get that sent over, even though it's not going to tech until the end of June, just to try and be a bit ahead of the game for the next couple of weeks because things are going to get a little bit busy in a good way. So yeah, all very mysterious for me, but yeah, I hope you are having a good time. I hope that the transitional weather, whether it's when spring into summer or summer into autumn, is going nicely for you. I'm looking at a very, very grey sky here. We had like 2 days of nice weather and now it's all gone. And yeah, I'll be back next week with my, sorry, I'm getting very nasally again. I'll be back in 2 weeks, no, I'll be back next week with my next part of my Knitting New Zealand video. That'll be the South Island, and I've not looked at the footage for ages, so I'm looking forward to going back through that footage some point next week and doing the editing. And I'll be back in 2 weeks' time with the next podcast episode. And in 2 weeks I'll also be launching the Tolsta tank, which is super exciting. I feel like that pattern's been on the go since last summer, so it's nice for it to finally be coming into the world. Thank you for spending some time with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope my sniffling and snuffling wasn't too distracting. And I'll speak to you soon. Happy knitting. Bye.